Hello, my name is Keating, and in 2006 I applied for the Cultural and Heritage Studies course in Stefan Neff in Cork City. I was 31 years old at the time and had always thought about returning to college in some capacity. At the interview I met Shane Lehan and he was really nice, we really hit it off, and I was delighted to be accepted onto the course a couple of days later. I always had an interest in Irish archaeology and places to visit around me, and the problem was I wasn't very good at school as I thought, and I was very anxious about returning to the academic scene really at my age. During the early days of the course, I was relieved that I was neither the oldest nor the youngest in the class. My biggest fear would be that I would be surrounded by young people, or at least academics who knew the score, and I would be exposed as some sort of simpleton. I found the opposite to be true. The majority of people felt the same way as I did, and we all settled in a similar rate and helped each other out. We studied lots of aspects of Irish folklore, Irish landscape, and Irish history. Every Wednesday we would go out and on field trips exploring the environment in which we lived. These weekly field trips were extremely interesting and great fun. I think our group bonded really well on trips. We visited old graveyards, during forts, castles, standing stones, as well as galleries and museums, and even the film festival. We had a weekend away in the Dingle Peninsula and always had something to look forward to. We had projects and assignments throughout the year and end of year exams. When people fell behind, help was always at hand as we kept each other on track. I myself fell behind and had missed a few days. I will always remember the day Shane pulled me into his office and told me that I would be in UCC this time next year. I laughed because I was one of those type who had never been onto UCC campus. I've always stopped at the gates and looked in, but that was for other people, not for the likes of me. I told Shane this and he reassured me that it was fairly common, and especially in Cork, and he convinced me that then and there to apply for UCC. Our end of year trip was to the Aran Islands in April of 2007. We stayed for a night in the Ostáin on Inishmore. We visited places like Temple Bianon, Dúnaingasa, and an early morning hike to the Black Fort. We spent the rest of our time on Inishmaan and we learned so much. A personal highlight for me was when we visited Dún Crahor. One of the elderly ladies, Anne, was bad on her feet and used a cane. That day especially was so beautiful and clear you could see the coast of Kerry in the distance. Anne felt she was missing out, not being able to make it up the ramparts to see the view. A group of us helped her carefully up onto the ramparts, and I will never forget her face when she saw the view. This was my first time on the Aran Islands and I fell in love with it straight away. I returned many times throughout my life, and in 2018 I got married to my wife Karen in the hotel on Inishmore where Shane had brought us in 2007. My wedding pictures include Paul Napéis, Dúnaingasa, Temple Bianon, Temple Ciaran. And anybody knows that these places are difficult to get to, but my wife amazingly did all this in her prize wedding dress, which was destroyed by brambles and craggy rocks, by the way, but it was a day that we will never forget. And she did all this because she knows how important these places have become to me. Shane and all of the teachers in CSN were so supportive. After all of my anxiety of my exams, I did a lot better than I could have expected and was accepted into UCC. In my arts programme, I studied archaeology, history, Celtic civilization, folklore, and I loved every minute of it. The feeling of being an imposter and a fraud never left me, and I graduated with single honours in archaeology and Celtic civilizations. Not only that, but I stayed on and completed a master's in archaeological excavation. Not bad for a guy who was afraid to look into the gates of UCC only a few years before. Of all the influential lecturers and teachers and tutors that I've had in UCC over the years, when it came to my thesis acknowledgement page, I thank first of all my family for all their support over the years, and secondly Shane Lehan for lighting a fire in me and under me at times. I can genuinely say that the best thing about this course is not the fact that it changed my life, but it changed the way I look at my life and the way I look at the world around me. And I'll always be grateful for the course, and thanks for everything, Con Keating.